Hello, beautiful people. Happy Sunday, and welcome to your first practical application of astrology and my personal story share in 2024. As I've been saying, this is going to be quite a interesting year, definitely a very impactful year, being a year number 8. And yeah, this is where we are at. So let's just dive in. I have quite a few things to share. Well, let's see how it's all gonna come out, because I never really planned what I say in these videos. But yeah, let's just start with recapping what's been going on this week astrologically. But I will not be talking that much about astrology. I don't expect to, but anyway, astrology is my life, so anything might happen. So yeah, so we started the week with January 1st. We entered this year with Moon in a sign of Gemini, and as I mentioned previously, that was the day where Mercury stationed direct, and also Venus made a square to Saturn. This was a very quiet week, the week we just ended, which of course is going to shift now. I already published my astrological forecast for next week, where I talk mostly about the new moon in Capricorn, which is coming up on Thursday. So if that's what you're seeking to watch, then it's the other video, not this one. But yeah, this week that is just ending now on Sunday has been very quiet astrologically, which is preparing us, recalibrating us for these new energies that are streaming in. And of course, the first of the first on January 1st, Monday, which was the beginning of a new week, beginning of a new month, and beginning of a new year on the 1/1 portal, new energies became available to us. And we've been processing those throughout this week, and I can definitely tell. And then the only big things that happened, well, the only main big thing that happened this week was on Thursday, Mars entered the sign of Capricorn, and Mars will remain in Capricorn until February 13th, and then it will have its conjunction with Pluto on Valentine's Day. And then yesterday on Saturday, we had the Sun square to Chiron. And this is something that's going to be present for the lunation, because this new moon in Capricorn is going to be squaring Chiron, and plus it's going to be squaring the nodes too. And all the other thing, like I said, if you're looking for the guidance with regards to astrological forecast for next week, you can find it in my other video. And also today Moon moved, or is moving. It hasn't moved yet at this time. It's actually 11:55 as I'm saying this. Moon will be moving into the sign of Sagittarius in approximately 3 hours, and that's where Moon will remain for the next 2.5 days. So okay, so this is what's going on astrologically, or has been going on. As I mentioned, we are entering a new week tomorrow on Monday, actually with the first square between Mercury and Neptune, the square number 3, where both are direct. So technically this week has been interesting, to say the least, because even though, and this is how it's been for me, I don't know obviously how it's been for other people, I can only speak for myself, but it feels like we've been in 2024 forever. I mean, I can't believe that it's been only like literally 1 week that we've been in 2024, and it's hard to imagine that literally we entered this year on Monday, because it feels like so much has happened and shifted in these past 7 days, that it just feels like a different year already. Like not even 2024, but something completely different, which is what I've been sharing in my past videos, that I've already been feeling 2024 since November, and in December it was just like a lost territory, because I was like, well, everybody's saying we are in 2023 and I don't feel that way. And now being in 2024, I feel like we just literally been catapulted into like a different dimension. Like this is at least how it feels for me. There have been so much, and I mean, it hasn't even been on the physical level necessarily, at least not in my life. Obviously, I can't speak for other people, but there's been so many shifts and turns, and it just feels like I am really starting to struggle putting into words what is going on in my inner world. I am having this experience even sometimes when I do readings for clients, because something has shifted, at least in my personal experience, especially since I started doing a lot of meditation and stuff, where I have a very quick understanding of a bigger picture. I can see the energy, I can understand the energy, but it's harder for me to translate it, because there is so much happening simultaneously at the same time. So for this week in particular, being the first week of 2024, it just really feels that we did a quantum leap to somewhere completely different, where there is so much happening at the same time. And this new moon in Capricorn, which we are building up towards on Thursday, This is gonna be a huge year. We have 4 lunations in Capricorn, and Capricorn represents, of course, the structure of our realities, the matrix. Saturn is the planet associated with number 8, which is the year we at, and also Saturn is the manifestation master, is the one that turned the formulas into form and form into formulas. So it is very interesting how things have been showing up, and in this 1 week I had so many old belief systems thrown in my face. And of course it makes sense, because a Mercury station direct, still in the sign of Sagittarius, and it started retrograde in Capricorn, stationed direct in Sagittarius. It will move back into Capricorn next week on the 13th after the new moon, but also it has these squares with Neptune. So Mercury went retrograde to help us see, to help us reevaluate, redefine, question and all that. What are these belief systems that are not holding on anymore, that are connected to the past and now they lost meaning? And I even remember, like, joke is on me. I remember myself saying, literally it was at the end of 2023, so last weekend I was talking to my friend and I shared some of my outdated belief system, which I got very quickly pointed at, like, hey, you know, do you still believe this story you keep telling yourself? Because we all have blind spots. And then literally on the 1st of January, a lot of them got revoked. I was being proved wrong by the experience I was having, and I was like, this is so interesting. And throughout this entire week, apart from the fact that I'm back to work and I'm again being observing myself and my outdated pattern, how I do things, and how I get myself by my own free will choice into situation which I'm observing are, why am I doing this? I know this doesn't work. Why did I do it again? And, you know, without, again, judgment and criticism towards oneself, because that's going to 100% stop you in your tracks, and then you're not going to resolve anything, because we need to observe, but be aware of the situation, but then rather than be our worst enemy and start judging ourselves for it, but then we go, oh, okay, yeah, I just catch myself observing this, and now what am I going to do about this? How am I going to change it? Because before I didn't notice I was doing this, or whatever it is. So the success is in awareness. It's in, like, you noticing. So I have definitely been noticing a lot of things this week, and like I said, the pattern with regards to my work, how I just dive straight in and book myself fully for the entire month, no day off, not a single one, and I'm like, what did I just do? You know, wasn't that enough last summer in Bulgaria when I did this for 2 months, and then I almost burned out completely and I had to take a break. So again, I'm reestablishing new boundaries. Saturn, I'm seeing, like, oh my God, I've done it again. I went on my subconscious program, like, oh my God, you have to accommodate all these people yesterday, and, you know, this patterns which we are moving away from, that South Node in Libra, which will be squared by this new moon in Capricorn, and Pluto for the last time. Pluto will be squaring the South Node for the last time, because that is going to move into Aquarius. We are moving away from this people pleasing, from this what other people think, what other people say, and what we were being conditioned to believe that, oh, is the right thing, right? So I can really see, and I can see it very quickly now with these new frequencies that are streaming through, and Pluto just about to hop into Aquarius. It's becoming obvious very quickly. It's becoming manifesting very quickly, where we have the opportunity to see the outdated patterns very quickly, and therefore it's an offering by the universe to change it. Because now we don't have to go years and years making the same mistakes over and over again, being completely unconscious and going like, oh, I didn't even know I was doing that. And now it's like, okay, you make a choice, and then very, very quickly you have the feeling of what is the consequence of that. And then, you know, we can integrate the lesson much faster, so we don't have to waste years being subconscious and unconscious about it and keep recreating the same dynamics that don't work, right? And then the other thing that I was observing was that throughout this inner child healing course, which is going very, very slowly, because every time things come up and then it takes me days to integrate them, it's just like so many blind spots. And I really recommend everyone, if you have any inner child course on hand, it's such a imperative thing, especially because this is a year 8, which is the strength card, which is Leo, which is the child. Leo is the archetype of children. I mean, yes, in traditional astrology they also say Jupiter, you know, Jupiter loves children, but Leo is your child, is your inner child, is the essence of who you are. It lives in your heart, which is the bridge between the higher self and, you know, the human self. So another thing that I have been observing is how things of the past, which even I completely forgotten, like that got completely blanked out in my memory as a, I guess, surviving mechanism, coping mechanism, are all coming up. Are all coming up. Things I haven't even thought about for decades, like literally such a long time. And now, literally within this 1 week period, which this is why I feel that, oh my God, this week was like it's gone quickly, but it feels like it covered such a big, vast territory which is not describable in a tangible form. It's not like, oh yeah, this week I've done 6 readings or I've done whatever, I've done this many videos. It's not that. It's like literally there is something energetic which is being covered very quickly at the rapid speed, and it's all happening on a spiritual and energetic level. I'm sure it's happening on a tangible level as well, but the density is slower. The pentacles are the slowest moving in tarot. So it's like density is moving slowly, like it's manifesting slowly, but there are a lot of things happening energetically. And I mean, we are in Capricorn season, so of course there is a lot of the earth going on, and we are in the cardinal sign, so there are new beginnings. But I really feel that there are things that are coming up to the surface of our consciousness for very likely everyone, especially with Mercury now stationed direct. It's going direct again in Sagittarius. That are giving us the opportunity to redefine, change, reshape, see things differently. And there are all these changes and shifts that are happening behind the veil, because we are energetically contributing towards this by just having this realization. And I also experience my dreams, like I'm dreaming every night. I don't remember them, unfortunately, but it's so interesting, because sometimes this is something that I wake up with, that I remember myself being aware in my dream, and like me being aware in a dream, but then waking up and then I don't remember. But there are so many things that are happening, which I'm sure again that potentially many people can resonate, that even when you sleep, there is so much happening. There is so much happening, like your physical body is resting, but there is so much happening energetically, spiritually. So many things are being culminating. They are culminating even with the chart of this new moon in Capricorn. There are so many things culminating. It's like I called it the paradoxical chart, because it's like, it's not, obviously it's not Libra rising, but there are so many paradoxes going on there, because there are all this closing, and it's a new moon, which usually means represents a seeding of a new energy, new lunation. But the new energy that's being seeded is multidimensional. It's connected to closing to the past, but at the same time birthing of the new. And that's what I feel it's happening in our lives. I mean, at least it is definitely happening in my life. I can only speak to myself, but I'd like to believe that it's probably being felt that way in many people's life. It's definitely something my clients are experiencing, that been sharing with me, and people in my environment, my friends and stuff. So I feel that there is this massive pressure, especially with this new moon that's going to square the nodes, is this massive pressure for change. So this moon that's we're going to open the 2024 lunar calendar with, and close it too, because we're going to have new moon in Capricorn at the end of the year too. This moon is opening a beginning of the end of the old, and at the same time simultaneously the beginning of the new, which is unmanifested yet, because there are all these things that are happening behind the veils. And like I said, with the dreams, there's so much going on in the dream world. There's so much going on. Even when I meditate, it's like I am being catapulted somewhere completely different. Like everything is just accelerating, and the experience is becoming more intangible and much harder to describe in a verbal way, in a linear way. And this is what's been going up for me this week. Like literally all these things happening simultaneously, and all these patterns of the past becoming very conscious, and all these memories flooding that were long forgotten. But then I realized that, oh my God, this is why I feel this way, or why I have this pattern, or why I have this belief system, because there is this memory which I've forgotten about, and it's still obviously operating in my subconscious mind. And now a lot of things make sense, because I'm like, well, I don't know, for example, when this shift took place in my life, where I started responding to certain situation in certain way, which is not how I was, for example, in my 20s, So now I had this during my meditation, which was also very weird, because I tend to check out. Like I meditate and then I just go somewhere completely different in my consciousness, like I talk to beings and whatever. and I was being present, but I wasn't being like I wasn't awake, but I was being present. I could hear that person talking, but then all these memories starting like literally like on a projector movie screen, like all these memories, all these people and circumstances, and all these like literally glimpses of the past that were giving me a message like, okay, so this is what caused this, I don't know, emotional shutdown, or belief system being created, or this fear, or this like whatever it is that was the outcome of that experience. And then there was also the other experiences where I didn't necessarily behave in a way that I'm proud of, or where I could have or might have, or very likely did have caused something like wounding to someone else, right? So there were all these things that, like the polarity of the experience, that yes, this is why, for example, you have this trauma, or you carry in this belief system because this took place, this happened. You might not remember it, but your body does, or your subconscious mind does. But then there was the other side of it as well, that okay, but this is what you did also. And it's not again with judgment, because you see, like, the spirit never judges. The spirit never goes like, you've done this wrong and this wrong, and like you failed, and you're not good enough, and la la la. There is nothing ever like that. And I mean, if there is for you, if that if you channel and this is what you hear, then it's very, where is it coming from? Because all these higher dimensional beings, in my this is again my understanding, in this higher dimension, there isn't a polarity. There isn't like, oh yeah, you bad because you did that. There is just like this unity consciousness and this unconditional love, where I can even I started like channeling for myself, like writing it down and stuff. And when I read it back to myself, like there is never ever any judgment. There is never ever like, oh, you could like stop doing that because that sucks or something. This is all our ego mind. This is all our program, that is like this self-hate that we were programmed to apply, because that's the biggest stop sign in your evolution. Like once we start being at the war with ourselves and like have this self-hate and self-judgment and criticism, then that's it. Then what is going to get resolved? Like, how much further can you get if you are at the war with yourself? It's like, so this is what and this is also something that again has been coming up on my radar from my experience of people close to me, that this is how we were being conditioned. This is how we were being conditioned to be our worst enemies. And then, if you do try to give to yourself what you need, or you love yourself, then, you feel guilty and ashamed, or we are being made being made feel guilty and ashamed by someone else. We are being shamed. And these are all opportunities for redefinition, because with this Capricorn, we are in Capricorn season, and Capricorn is about the tangible structure of your reality, that which you can see around you, like your emotional world, like your emotions, as I said before in my video, your emotions create, like that is the key element of manifestation, that we feel into it, we visualize it in our mind, but we feel into it, we know what it feels like. That's why when you're watching all this fear mongering going on in mainstream media, they know exactly what's going on there, because we have an emotional response. And when we have an emotional response, then straight away, we go into the database like, oh my God, how did I feel this way last time? And then we manifest it. So that's why it's so important to find this center place. Like, yes, I hear something bad, I have a response, of course, but then how fast can we go back to the point of the balance, to the equilibrium, where we can actually get to our logical mind, or like not to be in this flight fight response mode and go like, oh my God, there is tiger chasing after me, he's gonna kill me, let's just run, right? So again, going back to this what's been coming up. And I feel again that this is probably many people's experience this week. There are so many things flooding into our consciousness that are making us aware of the structure of our reality. whether it's your microcosm or macrocosm. And there are all these like, it literally, when I zoom out, which as I shared is very easy for me, it's very easy for me to zoom out and to see the higher perspective, to bring it back to ground or to have a human experience. This is where I struggle. This is what I'm learning in here, with my North Node in Taurus. So I can just totally see with all these things that are going on and all these news and all these, stuff that's going on. It's just like literally like, when we zoom out, we can just see all these, like in a game, you can just see all these people running around like headless chickens, like where we going? Because there is all these like, there is all this like impact, energetical impact, like attack from this end, this end, this end. And we just like dodging bullets, like, which way do you go? Because there is all this stuff happening all at once, there is this natural disaster, that plane set on a flame, there are aliens over there is war over there's like, you can't make it up, like it's all just coming all together, it's like literally you go through the book of human history, like, okay, what can we use to make people afraid? and to make and to manipulate, right? Because the fear obviously like paralyzes people. Fear is the is the energy that makes us like just stop in a trucks, and you're like, oh, like a deer in the headlights. So it's just like it's this energy that paralyzes us, that we cannot move any further because we are like shocked and frozen in a place, right? Which is trauma. Trauma is like a shock, something got frozen in time that is unresolved. So anyway, so we have all these like literally from the guidebooks, like, okay, let's go through human history and see like what can we use to make people afraid. And okay, there is a virus, there is an alien, there is this, there is that, and literally it's all going on at the same time. You can see like literally, just like it's all going on at the same time. So it's like we are being literally bombarded, from every single direction. I literally can see like, like there is a laser, like, like just being, all these like, phew, 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 like Star Wars or something, from every direction and stuff. And then we are just like here, like, oh my God, like which one to, which bullet to dodge faster, right? Whereas actually what all is doing, because it's so overstimulating and like it's just too much, isn't it? What he's really doing is going, well, how can I create this inner space of safety? Because obviously world is going gaga, especially with Saturn in Pisces, and this, like I said, this Capricorn new moon, which will be squaring the nodes, conjuncting Pluto and all the rest of it, Mars sextile, it's just like, it's just so... I can't even put into words and give it an adjective what this chart is, and it's just crazy. So anyway, so with all that's going on, it's literally bringing all these things from our subconscious, the things that go frozen in time, because there is a overstimulation from all these chapters of the history that worked before, and that all brings all this wounding. It brings all these woundings to our conscious mind for us to look at and have an opportunity to redefine, because this is what our reality is built on. This is literally the structure of this world. This is what is built on, right? It's like the control, the fear, the hate, the division, but that's not all there is, okay? This is just what we are being primed to focus on, because everything always has a polarity, right? Because we live in the world of polarity and duality. So of course, if there is a hate, there must be love. If there is a war, there has to be peace. There has to be the polarity out there, because universe always tries to be balanced, which is why, when somebody dies, somebody new is born. Where you lose someone, then you gain something new enters into it. There always has to be the polarity present, because that's how it works. Even the symbol of the yin and yang, in the white bit you have the circle of the dark, and in the dark bit there's a circle of the light, because it's the never-ending cycle of life. Like there is always, everything is always present. So us obviously having the opportunity to see all the all the darkness, all the stuff that is making us feel afraid and disempowered, there is an opportunity to reach for the light to actually come forward, to step forward. And how we're going to do it is first to go within and find it within yourself. If you can't find it all there, you need to create it. You need to find it within yourself, and then by the law of attraction, you're going to attract more of it. So if we are going to seek that something externally but we don't have it, we are in the opposite frequency. Like I feel unhappy and now I want to go and meet happy people. Like probably all I'm going to see around myself is more miserable unhappy people, because that's like we are tuned into certain dial and stuff. So with all this stuff that's out there, like universe is literally inviting us to shift the dial, to say like, okay, well, if you can't see it in outside of you, then you need to go inside and find it inside of you. You need to find it within you, this peace that you seek in, that love that you seek in, that equality we seek in, that unity we seek in, because obviously there is a plenty of division going on out there. And then we can manifest more of it. We can attract more of it into our lives. So that's why I feel that, like I said, everything is happening simultaneously. So for me personally, all these limiting belief systems from the past coming to the surface of the consciousness is an opportunity in myself to seek the opposite, to reach for the opposite. So I'm like, okay, now I can see this, shadow aspect of myself, shadow aspect of my psyche and of my mind. And now where can I go and create the antidote, like what do I need to do? So for example, the more, like I mentioned in my previous video, the more crazy and stressful and faster the outside world will become, what am I doing to balance that energy? So like it's like literally it has to be a staple. Every day you need to find the time to be quiet, to be still, to meditate, whatever that is. So it's like when there is all this stuff going on the outside, which is full of instability and whatever it is that you perceiving is going on out there, because we are all having our unique experience, which of course some of it we share and some of it is just unique and personal to you. So when we can see all this going on outside, being bombarded with all these lasers of information that are like mostly out there to bring us down frequentially, then what else can we seek? So it's an opportunity that, okay, well, there is obviously, this is not, this is in a dominance, right? Because we have the South Node in Libra, which is we seek in a new way of relating, we seek in a new balance. This Capricorn new moon is squaring the nodes, is pointing also to the South Node. Pluto is squaring still the nodes for the last time for this lunation. It's pointing to the South Node. Libra is in Libra, and the Venus as a ruler, it is still in the sign of Sagittarius, right? So Venus is obviously trying to help us to expand. Jupiter is now direct, everybody's direct apart from Uranus. Uranus is going to station direct after full moon in Leo at the end of the month, by which point Pluto will be in Aquarius again. So it's an opportunity for growth. It's an opportunity to go in a new direction. And the way we're going to go in a new direction is see the old direction, So that's why everything is accelerating in the microcosm and macrocosm. In your life, everything might be coming around. There could be people from the past pop in their head. There could be, like I said, for me personally this week, literally it was yesterday, memories from 15 years ago, which I completely forgotten. I literally didn't even, it was not on my conscious mind for like at least a decade. All these people, circumstances, and these things that took place that, I manifested, obviously, because I'm the creator of my reality, that created certain outlook on life, certain patterns, certain belief system that is now outdated. Do I still want to keep reliving this story? Do I want to keep repeating myself the same story that I'm actually not enjoying anymore? And whatever that is for you, what is the story that you are attached to that came from something that took place a long time ago, then created this perception of reality that now is making us, reevaluate whether this is the reality we want to keep re-experiencing or not? Because Jupiter is direct. Jupiter gave us 5 months of retrograde. Well, give or take, what was it? September, October, November, December, 4 months. 4 months of retrograde, where it was showing us that, well, this is the truth that you tell to yourself, but is this really a truth or not? And in the meanwhile, Venus was going through all these different signs, because Venus is the rule of Jupiter. And yeah, and now Venus is ruled by Jupiter because Venus is in Sagittarius while everybody else is in Capricorn, So it's like, it's crazy stuff that's going on out there because Venus is the ruler of the South Node for this entire year. This is not going to end anytime soon, which is why at the end of the year we have another new moon in Capricorn, because it will be like, okay, well, now we're ready to move on or what, So, I mean, I'm trying to make it sound funny because, I mean, what else do you do? But the significance of this year, 2024, I don't think it could be even put into words. Like, I mean, yes, next year is going to be number 9, which is the year of culmination. But this year, the year of 8, is the infinity symbol. Like, it's really, it is the potential to completely shift your life, to completely rebuild it. It's ruled by Saturn and Jupiter. Saturn creates, and it creates the structure, and Jupiter is the father Christmas. It says yes to everything. But like, if that which we are attached to, which we believe it's something detrimental, then we attract more of it. And then of course number 9 is ruled by Mars. That's a new direction, which is another oxymoron. We're going to have a year number 8 that is Europa Mars, and Mars is like, planet of a new beginning, and then also will be in Pisces and Virgo, learning and adjusting. The moon, this is a third week. We start in a week with moon in a mutable sign. We had over Christmas, moon in Gemini, New Year, moon in Virgo, now is moon in Sagittarius. So we know these are all adjustments we make in this entire year. Started with moon in Virgo. And also this Capricorn new moon is happening on Virgo Decan. So this is a year where we're going to be making a lot of adjustments. And how we making this adjustment is that we are becoming very, very conscious, whether it's in our personal or collective experience of what is not working anymore, but it's like really becoming obvious, and it's becoming from every single direction. It's just like I said, it's like beam, 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 like all these laser beams coming on us and becoming illuminated. And we're gonna have 2 full moon in Capricorns, so 2 full moons in Capricorn. So I'm sure there will be plenty of illumination by summertime. But yeah, like I said, in my personal experience, this is how it's been showing up, like very quickly. Like, the manifestation is speeding up for sure. Like you think something and then you manifest it like, a few minutes later or something, which is what is again requires us to take responsibility, take responsibility. Capricorn, emotional maturation, responsibility for the thoughts you think in, for the for the words you speak in, because these are manifesting your reality. So is this like, let's just stop and observe, let's just stop and reevaluate, let's just stop and most of all be aware, like what's going on here and what is this contributing towards, what is this creating. So yeah, like I said, in my experience this week, that's became very, very obvious and very clear to me. And it's like a different, it's a different speed. It's happening at a different speed. I can literally feel it, how somebody just turned the dial up and said like, oh, we're just going to fast forward it. So it's happening at faster, because we have no more time to waste, because, we are in these pivotal times in the human evolution where things are changing so quickly that is even like, it's exhausting to even try to keep a track with everything. And the polarity, the antidote to that is actually, well, you need to find this stillness and inner peace within you that is then helping you to make sense out of all that madness. Because at the end of the day, just like I tried to describe or explain at the beginning of this video when I started, I cannot necessarily put into words everything I'm experiencing. I find myself struggling at many times, but I understand the energy. I'm like tapped into energy, and I can see it very clearly with my third eye. I can see the vision, and I can see the energy. I can feel the energy. So, but I cannot always translate it into words. And this is the whole point. Because there are so many things that are happening, especially with this Mercury square to Neptune, so many things that could be illusion, that could be a lie. We don't know. How do you know what is the truth and the lie? Especially with all this technology we have available these days, and all these sources of information, and everything that's at our disposal right now, which is great because it gives you so much choice, so many options, and there is so much information. You can learn whatever you want very quickly. but it's important to discern, which is why I feel this Virgo is hiding there, moon in Virgo on the New Year's Day, and new moon in Capricorn on a Virgo decan, right? So there is still this flavor of Virgo, which, like I keep saying, but this is such an important thing to remember. Mars was in the sign of Virgo when it became a ruler of the North Node. When North Node moved into the sign of Aries, Mars was in the sign of Virgo. And this is the energy under which this is going to be the entire time. This North Node is in the sign of Aries, right? And Mars being the ruler. So this Virgo energy is so important, even though it's in the background. It's like there's nothing in the Virgo right now, and we have, I think Juno is there, but planets, there is no like major planet going on in a Virgo apart from when Moon is there every month. But Virgo plays a very important role because Virgo is the archetype of hero's journey, is the archetype of, yes, you have this experience that is difficult, challenging, traumatic, re-traumatizing, but now what do we do with it? What do we do with the experience? Do we just, roll over and I'm a victim and there's nothing I can do about it and it sucks and just, complain or judge myself for not making a better choice, for making these mistakes and or attracting this into my life or whatever? Or what we gonna do with it? What we're gonna do about it, because Virgo is a mutable sign, is an opportunity for learning and growth. And Virgo leads to Capricorn, which is the self-mastery. We are in a year ruled by Saturn, which is all about self-mastery. And the only way we ever going to get to self-mastery is through experience, through getting it wrong, through actually, humbling ourselves on our journey and saying, yes, I don't know everything, and for us to become feel competent in anything, we have to go through these experiences. And this is what's happening on a human level right now, or on personal level, because obviously, collective and personal, because the collective is made of people, of us individuals. So we are all very experiencing certain patterns and dynamics. Just like I said, I have these memories flooding in. Yes, some of them I was the so-called victim of the circumstance, which of course is an illusion, because I created and attracted the experience with my free will. And some of them I was the person that did something wrong to someone else, or I might have said something or been hurtful to someone. It might have been completely unconsciously, but it doesn't diminish the fact that this is what took place. That is the fact of it. But then what do we do with this? What do we do with all this information? What do we do with all this trauma that's coming up to the surface? All these experiences we are experiencing, what do we do with it? And this is where Mercury comes in, because Mercury represents the choice. And choice is always based on what we believe. What do you believe is the right thing for you? But as I keep saying, the belief is mutable. Sagittarius is a mutable sign, and Jupiter, even though it is in Taurus, which is a fixed sign, which makes it so difficult for a lot of people. People with Jupiter in Taurus natally, it makes it difficult because there is this fixation, like, oh my God, but this is what helped me to survive. It is comfortable, and like us Tauruses, we like being comfortable and stuck in our comfort zone, and let's just not move away from here because this is what I know is the familiar. There is a sextile between Taurus and Cancer, so it's familiar. Even if it doesn't work, but it's okay. At least I have my basic needs met or whatever. But now Jupiter is direct, and it was retrograde before, and is the ruler of Venus, and Venus is the ruler of South Node, and so South Node is going to be squared by new moon in Capricorn. We can just keep hopping from planet to planet and cover the whole chart and see what's going on there, but the core message is the same. This is going to be a huge year. I already spoke about it. We are already in it. This was the first week, which on an energetical level, for me personally, was huge. I feel this year has been going on for a long time. I can't believe we are only day 7. That's mad to me, because the amount of shifts I've been experiencing in my own experience personally, not necessarily tangible outer experience, but definitely inside of me, it's huge. It's huge. The vast space that got covered. It's crazy. But what I was trying to say with this. Yes, so but on the astrology, from the astrology perspective, this week was fairly quiet. Like I said, we had few transits, Mars changed the sign, Moon changes the sign all the time, every 2.5 days, but there was not that much going on, not in comparison with what's coming next week after. We have this 1 week. When is it? On the 27th, 28th, we have million aspects. Obviously, then we'll have the, the full moon in Leo, 25th. But 27, 28, we have 3-4 aspects going on every day, like, there's gonna be so much build up. And this is what I mean. This week was to prepare us for this energy, and already we tapping into this energy, which is so multidimensional, so fast, and it includes like past, present, future, past lives, future lives, ancestors, everything, and it's just like, it's difficult to put into words because there are so many things happening which are not linear, and we cannot describe them in this simple language. So that's what I mean. This week was so impactful and so profound for me, but I cannot explain what happened because there was nothing necessarily tangible that took place, but I felt all these shifts. And to me, this is what this year is going to be like. There's going to be so much happening, especially on the energetical level, where we actually will be truly tapping into our multidimensionality, into our multidimensional self, and starting understanding that you are not just this one identity having this very linear black and white experience, and that's it. Because when you sleep, your soul travels, it does what it needs to do, when it's not hindered down by a density of the physical body, which is beautiful but is limiting, right, as we know. And then during the day, there are things happening in your external environment, but there is still stuff happening on your emotional, spectrum, like this, horizons, emotional landscape. That's the word I was looking for, landscape. And then also spiritual landscape. Everything is happening all at once. And there's the same thing that's going on in the world. Everything is happening all at once. We have all these things, all this information, all this situation happening all at once because we are being overstimulated and bombarded into understanding that, well, there are all these things happening at once inside of you too, but we need to find the stillness and peace and balance in order to be tap into that and integrate this because that's the thing, we can have all the information in the world, but if we don't actually give ourselves time to digest it and to integrate the knowledge, then what? It's just the information. It comes in, comes out, out of our mind. That's why, I've noticed also with myself that now that my stress levels are more manageable, which obviously this is a transitionary period for me. So it's not like, I cannot live in a cocoon away from humans like for the rest of my life. It's not what I was born to do, unfortunately, not in this lifetime. So it is easier for me to actually retain information. I was noticing that when I was in my flight-fight response, when I was so stressed, when I was around my family especially, I really struggled retaining information. Like literally I would watch something and before I even finished watching, I already forgot what I heard. And this is the thing, there is so many things going on that it's really difficult to retain all this information and understand what's going on because we don't even give ourselves the time to pause and to digest it, to integrate it, to actually feel into it, and to see the outcome of it or the impact of it. There's just the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. So this is why again, I'm really struggling how to put this into words, but this is why I feel that this stillness, it's becoming more and more important, and also this reconnection to your multidimensionality and understanding that actually it's okay. Because nothing is happening by accident in the universe. There is a meaning and purpose in all this craziness that's taking place in the world, and that is preparing us for this next chapter of human evolution, human collective, which is going to be completely different. It's not going to be this dense Capricorn and Pisces age where it's all just like no boundaries, I'm part of everything, which you are, but you still came here to have your unique experience. That is how universe will expand through you, through you being who you are, Leo, your authentic self. And this is what I feel that this year is going to be all about, which this is just such a huge year. You can just keep going on about it all the time, and it's just like we wouldn't even scratch the surface of what this year really represents. But at the end of the day, we will not know until the end of it because that which we want to see manifested is being manifested behind the veil. It's not out there yet. Saturn is in Pisces, Neptune is in Pisces. Neptune is the ruler of Saturn. So we don't know. And like I said, we have one more retrograde into Capricorn. Pluto is going to retrograde into Capricorn one more time. So there will be one last push of all this stuff that Pluto has been digging out for us for 15 years since 2008. There will be one more that is going to bring this last push, like the last push of like, okay, this is it. So yeah, so we're going to be having more is coming, more disclosures, more crazy stuff, more everything is coming this year. It's all gonna happen. So yeah, so this is why we are being recalibrated in our inner world, which is why this week was so slow astrologically. It's been so quiet, not much stuff happening. Even like Mars is in Capricorn, right? I just in exaltation, but it's in Capricorn is slow. Because we need to prepare, because we are being recalibrating, because we already tapping into these energies, that things are shifting very quickly. There'll be a lot happening. There'll be a lot that needs to be integrated and worked on this year, even if it's just on an energetic level, while you're still going around your everyday life and doing the mundane everyday thing that needs to take place, because we're still having a human experience. But this is where I feel that we will start being more and more aware of our multidimensional self and be okay with it, rather than feeling like, oh my god, I'm having a funny moment, I feel like I have a multiple personality disorder or something going on. But you are an amalgamation of everything that came before you. You are not just like this single thing. Like, yes, this version of you is unique, because that's your Leo. Your sun is just for this lifetime. But we are being made of everything that came before too, which is why we have these responses to this situation in the world, which are familiar, even if that's not happening on your doorstep, or when it comes to ancestor line, like healing that which came before, personally, collectively, like all that. It's all happening this year, and that's what I mean. This week, and the way it's been showing up for me, it just showed me like how fast it can happen, and what a vast landscape that fastness can cover. It's just like whew, so quickly. So yeah, so anyway, once again, I hope this made any sense. If it didn't, then at least I had a nice chat with myself when I'm trying to process things out loud. But yeah, this is a preparation for the new moon in Capricorn, which is the paradoxical new moon of being a new moon, seeding a new energy, which is the seeding a new energy of the end of the Pluto Capricorn transit. And illumination of that, so more clarity will be given by summer, because there are a lot of things happening in the spring. So many things, all these conjunctions between personal planet and Pluto, and all these eclipses obviously we have going on, and then we have Jupiter is going to change sign into Gemini. So there's gonna be all this multiplicity, all these different choices available, and I mean it's Jupiter. Jupiter multiplies everything it touches. So this is a preparation, guys. This first week, just reflect on how it went for you and what everything came up for you. This is what this year is about. So that's why planets were quiet. They were like, okay, let's give this human time to adjust what's coming before we hit them, with the energy. But the energy is here already. It's here already. It's just going to be becoming more and more present in our everyday reality. And this is the new way. This is the new you. This is the new human. This is the new direction. So that's why it's so important to actually be tapped in your emotions, because Capricorn, Cancer, they come as a pair, and Cancer is your emotional world, is your moon. To be tapped into your emotion and give to yourself what you need, even if it's just for a few minutes, this peace and stillness and this quiet, when you feel completely disconnected or decentralized by what's going on in the world. The one constant is here, you can always rely on that heart always being there, beating in your chest, and is always going to guide you, and it's present for you from the day you took your first breath until you take your last. And this is the human experience in this in this incarnation. So you can trust that, because your heart has been here for everything. So anyway, guys, I'm gonna close it at this. I wish everybody a beautiful new year, 2024. May it bring you all the abundance you're hoping for and wishing for, and all these beautiful healings and integrations that are available to us at this time. And that will continue to be so because, as I mentioned, the nodes are moving into Pisces, Virgo, which are the healing archetypes. So yeah, it's going to be an interesting year. So yeah, let's just fasten our seatbelt because a lot will be taking place. But everything is perfect. You know, even though it's not being perceived that way through our human eye, and it doesn't remove the human experience, which needs to be integrated. So it's not about spiritual bypass and now like, oh yeah, rainbow and butterflies, it's all perfect, because we need to have this experience, and that comes from is the whole spectrum. It's a whole palette of what we came here to experience. But at the end of the day, everything has a meaning and a purpose, and nothing is happening by accident. So everything that's taking a place, the question is not what, you know, like, oh, why is this happening to me? But like, what is this trying to show us? What is the learning in this? Because we know if it's happening, then it's meant to be happening. There is a purpose and meaning behind that, even though it might not make any sense at all. But this is what our multidimensional being is experiencing right now. And we're working on multitudes of different things at the same time, which is why all these multiple things are happening at the same time. So anyway, without making it any confusing, I wish you all a beautiful week. Enjoy the second week of 2024, the Capricorn new moon number 1. And I'll speak to you again next week, guys. Much love. Bye.